All right, so hello everyone. This is Wind Waker HD All Dungeons. It's going to be roughly 3 hours long, and I guess if the Discord commentators want to just introduce themselves.
I'm Hypothetical Tiger.
I'm Case Master.
And Emerson.
Alright, so the first thing you may have noticed we've done is we skipped the intro cutscene. This game, thankfully the developers added in an introduction cutscene skip that we can use, and it saves like 4 minutes over having to watch the cutscene, so it's really nice. We're also playing on the Spanish version of the game. Spanish is not the fastest language you can use, but it's the fastest language that I have access to on a North American Wii U. The fastest language is actually Italian, but Italian is only on European Wii U's. Although the time difference between Spanish and Italian isn't very much, so it's not that big of a deal. Some people will always wonder, why isn't Japanese the fastest? It was the fastest in the original. And the reason for that is because the localizers actually sped up the text speed in this game for every single language except Japanese. So because of that, Japanese actually ends up being one of the slowest languages.
So, right off the bat, you'll see when he gains movement, he's gonna roll, which is the fastest wave movement in this, or on land at least. And a pretty good and major difference to the original version is that Link's rolls are instantly at their fullest speed and accelerated. Whereas on the SD version, the first couple rolls are actually pretty slow. If you just do them right from standing, you'd have to walk a couple steps before his rolls were actually as long as these Wind Waker HD ones.
They made rolling really nice, so you don't need to deal with timing, but it's still better to time your rolls anyway. Just get into the rhythm.
Yeah, in general, timing rolls is much better than mashing them, and you'll be much more consistent. You don't have to time rolls frame perfectly, though. You have 2 frames after each roll to do another roll and keep your full speed without losing anything. You may have also noticed that right after I side-hopped off the tower, I actually paused the game. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to change my camera controls. Because the default camera controls in this game are inverted compared to the original game, and because I was used to the original game, I just like to keep it that way. And so now I'm going to be doing a save warp. Basically, if I save and quit the game and reload, the game will place me in a specific position depending on where we are in the game. And in this case, it places us back close to the watchtower, so we can go back and speak to Errol quickly.
And then once he's at the top of the watchtower, we're going to see if Errol waves. If she waves, you actually lose a second, because it doesn't start the text until she's in an idle animation.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so thankfully Errol didn't wave. I mean, it's not that big of a deal if she does. It only wastes a second, but it's one of those things that you can potentially lose a little bit of time to that you just can't control, and it's kind of dumb.
There is
also... Oh, sorry, you can go.
No, it's alright. I was just asking if there's an explanation who she waves to.
I think she's just trying to catch the attention of the seagulls or something.
Now we have the telescope, a useless item besides this one part.
Yeah, pretty much all the early game items except the sword are completely useless.
Now we get another cutscene, because Wind Waker's the cutscene game.
Yeah, there are a lot of bathroom breaks in this game with long cutscenes. If we were able to skip all these cutscenes, with just manually integrated cutscene skips, we'd save 40 minutes or something ridiculous.
That would be great.
Although I must say, with TP as a game with barely any cutscenes, I'd like to have at least a couple of cutscenes just to of course bathroom, but just to rest for a bit, because having to play 3 hours straight without any cutscenes really is actually pretty draining. So I wouldn't really complain too much about cutscenes.
I mean, if you really don't want any cutscenes, you can play Skyward Sword. The longest break you get is 50 seconds, but anyway, back to Wind Waker HD. We need to go get the sword from Orca now and go through some sword training.
So you'll see here on the third slash for every single combo, Jim's going to be holding down and then up to finish the combo quicker. It's just faster than just mashing B throughout the whole combo.
Yeah, the plain B mashes are actually like really slow. Oops. Alright, so right here, when the parry attack comes up, you'll notice that with how quickly I do the parry, the second parry actually comes up instantly afterwards. If you hit the parry within the first 2 frames that you can activate it, that happens, and it saves around 3 seconds.
Yeah, and they made getting quick parry easier in the HD version, because if you hit Orca early, he doesn't knock you down right away like he does in the original. You actually get another hit to try to get the parry. So if you do it early, it's not that bad.
Yeah, you'll also notice that Orca's text was really fast. In this game, some of the text boxes are really quick, whereas some, like the more important text boxes, will like force you to scroll through and watch the entire thing. But if you do get like text boxes that you can get through really quickly, the fastest way to get through them is to hold the B button and then mash the A button. Because holding down the B button will instantly make the text box go through.
So now we're just going to go up to the Forest of Fairies to save Tetra.
Yeah, so now that we have the sword, we can get by the trees. Interestingly, the trees that we just cut down to get up here, there's actually an invisible wall behind those trees if you don't have the sword for some reason. Which is strange because, like, even if there was no invisible wall, you still wouldn't be able to get past the trees. So it's kind of weird why they did that.
So in Wind Waker, you can actually pick up items with your sword. So you're going to see here, Jim's going to quick spin a log coming up to get a red rupee out of it, so we don't need to crawl through.
Yeah, so ideally I want to get 30 total rupees on Outset. We get the 20 in the red log, and then in this grass we can get more rupees with some just luck. And so with these Bokoblins, we can just stab them once and then do a side hop, jump, slash, spin attack. Where basically, while we're in the jump attack animation, we can do a quick spin motion, which will make Link automatically do a quick spin when he hits the ground. The key thing about that is that for some reason, if you do a quick spin out of a jump slash in the HD version, the damage that it does is like double that of a quick spin for some reason. So it does a massive amount of damage to enemies and makes fights really quick.
Yeah, that'll be used a couple times throughout the run. Pirate dance.
Yeah. Yeah, so now Tetra's really mad that this bird dropped her in here. And so we get to view more story cutscenes. And Errol is really excited to now see her brother. But unfortunately, she's going to go bye-bye.
Story behind that is that Ganondorf is searching for girls with specific ears, like these what's it called? Like just
Pointed
these
ears.
yeah, the pointy ears, and blonde hair. So that's what the bird is watching out for, because obviously Ganondorf is searching for Zelda, and this is why the bird first got Petra, and now he got Errol. That's the story behind it.
Then Link decides to jump off the cliff to try to save his sister. It really works out for him.
Yeah. I mean, he had water below, he'd be fine, because video game logic.
Exactly. Now there's just gonna be more text, and then after we're gonna go back to Grandma for the final time in the run and get the sword. Not the sword, the shield, sorry.
Yeah, another useless item. Well, actually, in this run, there's like one place, or two places where the shield is useful. And that's the hero shield, by the way. Obviously, when we get the mirror shield, we're going to be using the mirror shield much more. Yeah, so I pulled out my sword right there before I began rolling, because if I tried to roll immediately, I would have talked to Quill and wasted time. So it's a good time right there to pull out my sword for the jump attack over the fence.
Yeah, also, if you've seen the Wind Waker SD runs, you'll notice that these first couple, like, this first beginning, or like the first route, sort of, are pretty similar, up to the Wind Waker, where everything goes basically different. But more to that later.
Yeah, and both the original game and this game each have, like, one broken item that's constantly used in many different ways to break the game open. In the original game, that item is the Wind Waker. In this game, the Wind Waker isn't that useful. You just play songs with it. But in this game, the broken item that we get is the grappling hook.
And you'll see why.
Very, very soon.
So now Jim's just gonna go back to Tetra and talk to her so we can leave Outset, and all of Tetra's text here is fast text, so he can just hold B and mash A.
Yeah, so now we're leaving our home, and we're gonna cross the entire ocean within a matter of a few minutes. Just like due to how the plot progresses and how we go through it.
To say goodbye to all of our friends on Outset.
Including Snot Boy. You miss him the most.
The best character.
Snopper was his actual name.
I have no idea what his actual name is. Just always referred to him as Snot Boy.
And Grandma, you can't forget Grandma.
Yeah, so now the only thing we're going to be doing on the pirate ship is getting the spoils bag. This map that we're on right now is actually just like a completely separate map from the overworld. It's just like its own standalone quadrant. And funnily enough, there's actually like a weird way that you can get to a test map from that area, but sadly you end up crashing the game when it tries to load it because the parameters floating the area just aren't correct. It's kind of strange.
And somehow,
You get to do
Nintendo made
rope
the...
game, everyone's favorite part of the run, right?
Yeah. Everyone loves the physics.
Yeah, ropes in Zelda games, it's like the developers just they just don't know how to code ropes properly or something.
Yeah.
In pretty much every Zelda game, at some point they're pretty problematic.
Yeah, at least in speedrunning, sometimes the ropes will end up trolling us. It's like in the original game, you could just jump on and jump off as quickly as possible, but in this game, we have to wait a little bit before we jump off the ropes. Otherwise, we can, like, get thrown off in weird directions. So that's why I was waiting really long on all those ropes before jumping off. I could have tried jumping off a little bit earlier on most of them, but that
Well,
could
the
have
last one
resulted.
was pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, usually the last one isn't really one of the problem ones. Usually the one that gives me the most trouble is the third one. Anyway, now we get the spoils bag, another useless item.
It actually makes spoils appear, so it has a chance to actually lose us time later in the run.
if you don't get the spoils bag, enemies actually will never drop spoils. Instead, they just drop like a green rupee in the place of the spoil. So it is possible that I could lose a little bit of time if I accidentally collect a spoil, but that generally tends to not be a huge issue.
In this game, you have to skip it with like a manual super stone raid.
Yeah, you'd have to do like task tricks to skip the spoils bag in this game. Yeah, this entire like intro sequence that we just did on Outset is skippable, but unfortunately it requires task-only tricks, which you could like replicate as a human, but by the time you did that with like the human raids, it would be slower than just going through the intro, which is unfortunate. So anyway, this cutscene that we're queuing right now at the Forsaken Fortress is actually like taking place on the Forsaken Fortress map itself. So these lights in the background are on a cycle, and I'm hoping that I can get through the text in this cutscene fast enough to make the fast light cycle, because the lights are guarding a pair of red rupees that we need to get. All the money that we're getting right now is to buy the sale later.
Yeah, the sale is the only thing we're going to buy since we skipped the Triforce quest. We don't need to get money for deciphering charts later on.
And now we get to listen to Link's barrel beat. It's pretty cool.
Es dos unos. Oh, uno. My Spanish is rusty.
Yeah, to the surprise of many, I have not learned any Spanish at all playing this game over and over again.
Well, considering I've been playing OT and MM, my Japanese is pretty bad as well. So.
Yeah, so now we're in the Forsaken Fortress, or as it's called in Spanish, the Isle of the Devil.
Pretty good name in Spanish.
Yeah, I only know that because that's what people who can read Spanish have told me. Anyway, this is the Gossip Stone. We need to collect this, even though it is possible to skip this trigger. Because if we don't collect it, then we won't be able to get bombs later on in the run. So lights should be good for us to just quickly scoop up the red rupees.
You want those rupees because you need to buy the sale later in a couple of minutes. So you want to have 80 rupees at some point.
So right there was window jump. It's actually way harder in this game just because you can't hold straight up easily because there's no notches on the Wii U gamepad or the Pro Controller.
Yeah, so we need to kill the Bokoblin that mans this searchlight so that the searchlights like go up and don't work anymore. Because if we don't do that, then we can't cross the last Seidel gap on our way to the top. And the fastest way to kill him is just by quick spinning him off. And then I can use the Deku stick that I got to jump slash back into this hallway.
Surprisingly, the rope in this room doesn't really ever mess you up. It's like the one good rope in the game.
Yeah, that rope is like perfectly fine. It's weird. But it's good that we don't have to deal with that rope being stupid. And we can also sidle into this door right here. If you do it correctly, it saves like a quarter of a second or something. Now, if someone else wants to explain the moblins.
So in the original, if the moblins see you for like a very short amount of time, they'll catch you immediately. But they changed it in the HD version so that you don't actually ever have to put on the barrel. You have enough time to roll away and escape them before they'll ever actually catch you.
Yeah, so RNG was good on that roof moblin.
Yeah, if he moves forward, then he'll be able to see you.
Yeah, him seeing us isn't too big of an issue. We just have to roll with a camera we can't control, but it's consistent. Also, right here, I'm constantly tapping left on the control stick to get across these Seidel gaps. It's very slightly faster than just holding left, just because of how it like shortens Link's animation for sidling.
Yeah, and this ledge is also the reason why he actually deactivated the watchtower. Because else this would have been the spot where he would have been spotted and just put into jail, which is obviously slow.
Now we're getting the sword back.
Yeah, so once again we can use the jump slash quick spin to deal a massive amount of damage to the Bokoblin. The blue Bokoblins have 5 health, whereas the green ones have 7 health, so we need to do 2 extra stabs before doing the quick spin to do the proper amount of damage. And so now we found our sister.
Nice cutscene with no input until the end of it.
Yeah, another bathroom break.
Second time you're here, they fixed this like vibrating shield glitch, right? Cutscene.
Yeah, the vibrating sword and shield doesn't like happen anymore. Although that happens in a cutscene that's like in like an hour.
Yeah, second time.
Yeah, so like no matter how speedrunning goes for this game in the future, you'll pretty much always have to watch this cutscene. Because this cutscene spawns the King of Red Lions, and there are a lot of points in the game where if you don't have the King of Red Lions, like in memory, the game like will crash or like freak out, and you won't be able to continue. Yeah, so Ganon pushes us off as nothing but a small inconvenience, but little does he know that he's going to get stabbed in less than 3 hours.
Do I remember correctly that this cutscene sometimes doesn't always happen on some versions?
The small cutscene where the King of Red Lions like finds Link in the middle of the night was not in the original Japanese version of the game.
Yeah, okay. Remember correctly.
And then they added it in because I guess they thought it made more sense to show a little scene like that instead of just appearing at Windfall suddenly.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird if there was just a talking boat randomly.
Yeah, so Link is surprised by a talking boat, but he gets over it pretty quickly and accepts it as normal.
So since
yeah, sorry.
remind you go. No, it's fine.
I was just gonna say, well, considering he survived like a, I don't know, like 200-mile throw over the sea, I wouldn't be surprised over something like that. More about how I survived.
Well, yeah. This sea is like, I think they like mathematically it's only like 49 square kilometers or something.
Oh.
Something like that.
Let's just accept 200 miles. Sounds a bit more dramatic.
Yeah, it does.
So now, since Jim already has 70 rupees, he can skip the flowers at the beginning of Windfall that have RNG rupees, because there's 2 pots that he'll be getting that always have a blue rupee in them. And we only need 80 rupees for the sale.
Yeah, so if we were short on rupees, there's like a flower patch up here that we can quick spin for some rupees. But because we got lucky on Outset, we don't need to use the flower patch. Also, after getting this blue rupee, we're going to be going to save Tingle from jail. We aren't going to be collecting the Triforce in this run because only slow people do that. But we still need to save Tingle, unfortunately, because if we don't save Tingle, we actually can't buy the sale. Because if we try to buy the sale early, Zunari, who's the merchant that sells us the sale, is going to be like, oh, I feel so sorry for that green man in prison, or something like that. So So unfortunately, we're forced to collect the Tingle Bottle, even though it's completely useless.
And we get to see Tingle's little dance, so it's always worth it coming to Tingle.
Yeah, so after this cutscene, the game is gonna force me to like configure my Tingle Bottle settings, which we just set as the default because it gets us out of that menu quicker, which is what the pause right here is.
Now Jim's just gonna buy the sale right here from Zunari.
Yeah, so thankfully the Rupee RNG in this run was actually pretty good. There are some runs where like you won't get any rupees or any green rupees on Outset, and you'll just be stuck with 20, and it can waste quite a bit of time going to get other rupees on Windfall. Anyway, it's now time for the longest sailing section in the game. 2 full quadrants of nothing but pulling the sail in and out. The reason I'm doing this is because every time I pull out the sail, it actually gives me a slight boost forward, which you can see a little more clearly if I turn the camera to the side right here.
You used to have to play the rupee minigame with the barrels with the flags on them to get rupees for later on in the run, but since we don't need them, we can just sail the whole time and not worry about getting rupees.
Yes, like once you buy the sail, there's nothing else in the run that requires any rupees, so you don't have to worry about like rats stealing your rupees or anything like that.
Once we get to Dragon Roost Island, we'll be getting the Wind Waker, which, like Jim said before, it's not really that useful in this run besides playing songs, since we can't do Wind Waker dives to get storage in the HD version.
Yeah, in the original game, there's a glitch you can do called a Wind Waker dive, which allows you to like fall with the Wind Waker out. You can still do that glitch in this game, but it's much harder, and the desired glitch that we get with the Wind Waker dive in the original game is storage. That glitch was patched with Wind Waker diving in this game.
And the sailing's almost over.
Yeah, so congratulations, you made it through the longest sailing section of the run, everybody.
Remember the good old days with the swift sail and the
Poing,
many
poing.
noises.
Oh, please
Yeah.
no. I'd like to forget about those days. Yeah, this game's run used to be nearly 4 hours long. Before the discovery of the item sliding glitch, which we'll be using a little bit later. So first we're going to play Zelda's Lullaby in 3/4 time. And then we're going to play like a reverse Ballad of Gales in 4/4 time. Now we have the Wind Waker. So normally this island wants you to go and blow up a bunch of rocks to get up to the Rito area, but we can just jump off of this rock and skip that entire part.
Yeah, it's really nice they just put that rock there.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's the shield use.
Yeah, that's one of the uses of the shield, is blocking that bomb from blowing us up. We actually can also skip that second rock that I just blew up. But because we need to come back through this area again, it is the same amount of time if we were to either skip it twice or blow it up and then just run past the next time.
So now we get to go into Dragon Roost Island and get the delivery bag in another cutscene. Wow, who would have thought there was another cutscene in this run?
Wait, there are cutscenes in this run?
It's crazy.
Damn it. Oh well.
The original version can skip it because it can make use of a glitch called zombie hover, which is a pretty weird glitch because how it works is during if Link gets damaged to 0 health, and when he gets dealt a fatal blow, but he has a sword out, you can actually delay his death animation by mashing A and B, and if you do that, Link raises and goes hovering above the ground, and if you continue to mash B throughout that, you can gain height the faster you mash. And the original version can use the Tingle Tuner to heal yourself at a certain point, so you survive that. But unfortunately for the HD version, since there is no Tingle Tuner, you could do the hover, but you couldn't heal yourself, so it would just die and spawn all the way back down there.
Yeah, the zombie hovering glitch still works in this game, but unfortunately, because we don't have a way to heal ourselves conveniently for any of them, we don't end up doing them. Because we could still do all the hovers, but then once we got to our destination, we'd just die, which obviously is not optimal.
Now we get to talk to Medley and get the letter that we have to show to Kamali.
Yeah, Kamali is being a pouty teenager. So for those who don't know, using the Wii U gamepad for this run, it's very convenient because I can equip my items without having to pause the game, and it improves the flow of the gameplay. I can also use gyro aiming for whenever I need to aim with any item.
Luckily, all of Kamali and Medley's text is fast, so it makes these little text sections really quick.
Yeah, so now that we're finished talking with Kamali, we need to go back to Medley, who's outside by the pond area. She's going to eventually give us the bottle.
So you'll see that there's this wind going on the whole time while Jim's moving and then going to talk to Medley. That's also going on while he's talking to Medley. So then, as long as he had good movement and good text, then by the time he can pick up Medley, the wind will be at the perfect spot in the cycle, so he can throw her right away.
Yeah, it's really convenient that it works out that way. Originally, when we played this game, or right when this game came out, most of the runs that were done were on English, because we didn't think about using other languages at the start, so it was still possible to hit that cycle on English, but it was a lot harder. Because of the shorter Spanish text, hitting the wind cycle here is much easier.
Has that Medley softlock that happened to Narcissa ever happened to anyone else? She fell down and then...
Yeah, I see. I think I remember seeing it happen to one other person. I don't think it's a soft lock though. It ends after 40 seconds or something. It's just a really long time.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
How does it happen? Do you have to throw at a certain point, or?
Yeah, I mean, I've never looked into it, but I'm pretty sure it's just position based. Anyway, we need the water to water this bomb flower to blow up this rock. What's weird about that rock is that even if you have regular bombs, that specific rock will only respond to bomb flowers for some reason. If we were to get the bombs early and then come here, we wouldn't be able to blow up that rock.
So before we enter the first dungeon, Dragon Roost Cavern, we have to blow up these 2 statues, but Jim's actually only going to blow up one of them and then use a jump slash to cross over the lava. It only saves a small amount of time, but it's fast, so we do it.
Yeah, that's one of those high risk, low reward tricks. If you fail it, you lose 20 seconds, but it saves 2. But I'm consistent with it, so I'm confident in going for it. Anyway, now we're in Dragon Roost Cavern. Probably the most technical dungeon out of any of the ones we're going to be doing. There's lots of little optimizations we do. So first I need to knock a torch out of one of these Bokoblins' hands and use it to light these other torches and spawn a small key to get out of this area. And with the proper movement I can line myself up to be right in front of the chest when it forms.
So now in this room, you'll see there's a lava cycle that's moving. That goes on through the whole dungeon, and once we get outside to the one ladder, you'll be able to see how good your run's going in DRC by where the lava cycle's at.
Yeah, so this is one of the instances where if we had the Tingle Tuner, we could do a zombie hover to skip part of this dungeon. But because we can't heal, there's unfortunately no zombie hover. As I blow up this rock right here, I'm actually going to roll right before the rock explodes so that I can get to the door during the cutscene. And then right here, there's a very small cutscene skip I do because I angle the camera a certain way. Normally the game tries to show you that the water pot creates like the solid ground to stand on, but if we angle the camera a certain way, we can just skip that little cutscene.
Then there, Jim quick spins the Bokoblin after he breaks the wood, because if he doesn't break the wood and you quick spin him before, then he'll actually be stuck in there and you'll have to reload the room, because he'll be getting up and then taking a long time to get the sword again.
And so out here we can use a quick spin to like activate this bomb flower and roll into the rock. This dungeon is basically like a lot of puzzles to get small keys.
Then once we get the grappling hook, it becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah. So out here, there's a lava cycle that I want to make sure I hit. It looks like we're going to hit it pretty easily, though. For the most part, my movement was okay. And then the developers want you to sidle across this next gap, but we can just jump over it, because it's really short. And then kind of same thing over here, the developers want you to like ledge climb through that like other ledge, but because we have side hop jump attacks, we don't need to do that.
Now Jim's just gonna pull the blocks out so that he can make it up to the top. And instead of climbing up the final one, he's gonna roll to the right and try to do a ledge grab, but it didn't work out there.
Yeah, my roll was too far angled to the right, so I couldn't grab the ledge. It's fine though, it's not the worst mistake you can make. And since we're already past the lava cycle, we don't have to worry about hitting any more cycles.
We have to activate the Gossip Stone there so that we can pull the block out. So in this next area, once he gets outside, he's going to be slashing the bird to get the key with his sword, like we did earlier in the Forest of Fairies, with the quick spin for the rupee.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to steal the key from that bird, even though he wasn't doing anything wrong. So this next room coming up has 3 Bokoblins in it that we need to kill. First one I can kill with a jump slash spin attack. Second 2 I'm going to try to lure together so I can finish them off with a side hop jump slash spin attack, which worked out pretty well.
Then he jump slashes on the table to get some more height to get onto the ladder.
Hopefully I don't get trolled by the magtail in this next room. Alright, that's good. So in this room I need to blow up the rock that contains the warp pot, because I'm going to be using it to get back here later, because this is the room that has the boss door. Unfortunately, there's no boss key skip that we can do for this dungeon that's viable for a marathon speedrun, so we have to go and get the boss key. But getting the boss key actually doesn't take that long, so it's not too out of the way.
Yeah, I wish to join with the most broken item in this game.
Alright, so here we fight 2 green moblins, or sorry, 2 green bokoblins, and then our first moblin. Unfortunately, the moblin kind of trolled me a little bit with how far away he was. So that was a really awkward fight with him, but it's fine.
Now we get the game-breaking item, the grappling hook, which lets us item slide.
And so the first, like, roughly 40 minutes there, we're just gonna warm up. Now the run actually begins. So right after we get the grapple hook, I'm going to be doing a save warp back to the beginning of the dungeon. And we're going to go and get the boss key. So the grappling hook is broken because it allows us to do a glitch called item sliding, which you'll see in just a moment here.
With first-person items, with holding a direction and then holding slightly in the opposite direction, known as ESS position, you can gain a lot of speed eventually till you crash the game. So it lets you do large things like that, where he got item slid across the room, and now he's going to get the boss key early because he skipped a lot of things.
Yeah, so by charging up the speed backwards, I can then release it forwards by slashing my sword and targeting. And so that allows me to like aim where I want the speed to go. So pretty much anywhere there's like any sort of long room, you can expect there will be an item slide to accompany it. This magtail right here gave me good RNG. Sometimes the magtail will like stop moving for a few seconds, which is really bad.
Then now Jim's just going to do a save warp after he gets the boss key to go back to the beginning of the dungeon and go into the warp pot so he can go to the boss room.
Yeah, so like I said, boss key doesn't take too long to get. It's definitely helped by item sliding. Unfortunately, my movement was a little bit sloppy, so I ended up getting hit by the bokoblins. Yeah, so item sliding isn't restricted to just forward or backwards. You can do it in any direction. So in this room, I do it sideways to get to the boss door quicker.
Now we get to fight the first boss of the game, Goma.
Yeah, Goma is pretty trivial and straightforward. You just want to make sure that at the end of the first phase right here, where we swing across 3 times, that you land the last swing in front of Goma so you can start the second phase immediately.
Yeah, both phases of Goma are pretty straightforward. First one's just grappling a tail, and then the second one is just hitting her eye.
And then there's a bit of time between, like, each time you can grapple the tail, so you just kind of have to wait around. I turned the camera away from Goma because Goma's actually super laggy whenever she's on camera, because she has a lot of particle effects on her body, and particle effects in general lag this game a lot, so it's best to keep them off screen to reduce the lag.
Nice ledge grab.
Thank you. The ledge grab there actually saves just a wee bit of time because it starts the cutscene quicker. You can get it. Also, after each time that Goma pushes the stone back up onto Valu's tail, there's a chance I could get hit by some rocks, but thankfully we didn't get hit by any.
So now in the second phase, you can do it in 2 cycles as long as you do it quickly.
Yeah, so if we're close enough to Goma on the second phase whenever we attack, the quick spin will actually hit twice, which causes the first cycle on the second phase to end really quickly. And with that, Goma's dead, and we can witness the game lagging a lot as lots of particle effects are produced while Goma just kind of disintegrates.
And Goma dying makes the lava freeze over. Because video games.
Yeah, Zelda logic. So like all bosses, Goma produces a heart container. We're not going to get the heart container because it's useless. There isn't really anything in this game that does any sort of major amount of damage.
And Jim will want a low amount of hearts later for a skip.
Yeah, there's one skip later where we want to be at a low amount of health. And so obviously if we get more hearts, it's going to take longer to damage down to the health that we want.
Now there'll be just another cutscene and then we can go learn Wind's Requiem.
Yeah, so one thing I sometimes get asked is why nobody does runs with New Game Plus. And the reason for that is because New Game Plus is actually slower for every category. And the reason that it's slower is because in New Game Plus, the Hylian text that certain beings produce is translated to be readable. And that readable text is always longer than the Hylian text, because the Hylian text is actually just a direct translation of Japanese. And Japanese has less characters than all the other languages. So the Hylian text is always faster.
Yeah, even with the cool pajamas, it's still a slower thing to run.
Yeah, so now Kamale's not an angsty teenager anymore. He is doing his stuff. And he has the confidence to go get his wings.
There's gonna be a cool little item slide here to get to the little island that has Wind's Requiem on it.
Yeah, so we need Wind's Requiem because it allows us to change the wind direction. We only needed to change the wind direction once, but the one direction change saves a lot of time, so we should get it. It is possible to skip the Wind's Requiem in this run, but it's just slower to do so.
After this little cutscene with Zephos, we'll be doing our first super swim.
Yeah, so with item sliding is like a speed charge up on land, but we can sort of extend that charge up into water if we slide into water very slowly.
So it's going to be a super swim from Dragon Roost Island to Great Fish so that we can get bombs early.
Yeah, so I did a small little safety save right there, just in case I get a soft lock accidentally. Unfortunately, I accidentally ended up shifting between some precise control stick positions that kill all my speed, so I'll have to do this again. That's fine. That's why we do the safety save. Because there is a way that I can conserve speed in a Super Swim if I don't have enough. But unfortunately, I screwed it up.
Not that big of a deal, though.
Alright, so we made it this time.
So after the cutscene on Great Fish, we're gonna do another Super Swim right away. But this is actually like one of the hardest Super Swims in the game. You have a very small steam you can charge on a raft in the back of Great Fish, and we're gonna charge a Super Swim on there so that Jim could go from Great Fish to Windfall. Normally,
the King of Red Lions is missing. Someone please find him.
He's gone.
He pieced out. We don't need him anymore.
You can actually bypass
actually,
doing the hard Super Swim.
Yeah, the King of Red Lions is like actually sunk way under the water level right now for some strange reason, but he'll be back once the cutscene ends. But anyway, you can continue on with your explanation. Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's okay. So you can actually bypass this hard Super Swim that Jim's gonna do by changing the wind south after you beat Dragon Roost Cavern, and then getting in King of Red Lions, and he'll actually auto-sail you back to Windfall, because that's where the game thinks that you're supposed to be right now, because you're obviously not supposed to be at Great Fish this early. But that takes like 2 minutes, so this swim is a very large time save, but it's pretty difficult.
Yeah, so as just a precaution, I'm going to be doing another safety save.
He'll be charging the swim backwards against the wall. Once he has enough speed, he's going to have to move Link into the water very slowly, because if he moves in too quick, then he'll just sploosh and won't be able to continue the Super Swim.
Oh yeah, so that was really good.
Yeah, it was a really quick swim. And
Sometimes
setup and
that
everything.
swim can waste like up to a minute or more if you fail
That
it a
can be
bunch.
really annoying.
We're not quite done doing glitches yet. Now up next we got password skip.
So he's going to be doing a roll clip here, where if he climbs up the ledge and then holds left and does a roll on the first possible frame of Link's movement, he'll be able to clip through the ledge. And you see him pausing here, because once he actually does the roll clip, he's going to need to let go of left, because since every roll is basically full speed in HD, if you don't let go of left, then you'll actually go through the boat. I clipped out there at the end of it.
Yeah, jump slash too early for the backup like that. It's okay, though. You can retry this trick a lot. You like fail it over and over again.
Yeah, it's a pretty quick retry.
The hard part about that roll clip is that you have to let go of left really quickly, but the pause helps with that, which is why I do it.
In rope game.
And yeah, now it's time for rope game again. Unfortunately, we can't use the grapple hook in this area, so we can't just like item slide across the ship. So instead we have to deal with bad rope physics again.
Yeah. But as long as you go quick on it, the cycle is usually the same, so as long as you let go of the rope at a good time, then you'll usually always get the same rope cycle and be able to get there pretty quickly.
I'm gonna have to do an extra swing right here. Just because I grabbed that one rope so, like a little bit on the edge.
And another thing they changed with ropes in HD is you can actually move around while you're on the rope, where in the original you would have to stop and then move to change directions. So it makes that rope game way easier, in my opinion at least. Just because I've gotten used to it.
Yeah.
Now we get the bombs.
So yeah, normally you're not supposed to get the bombs until after you beat Forbidden Woods. but because we have the ability to just super swim anywhere, it's more convenient to get the bombs first because they save around 30 seconds in Forbidden Woods. Since they help with just a few of the puzzles that normally you'd need to solve the developer intended way.
Now that we have bombs, Jim's going to save warp and it'll put him outside at Windfall. And he'll be doing a super swim from Windfall to Forest Haven so that we can go to get the Deku Leaf and then go into the second dungeon.
So I got caught in one of the reefs, but it was fine. Sometimes you'll like run into islands if your speed isn't very fast. But we made it anyway, so it's okay.
There he splooshed into the cutscene because Forest Haven is one of the islands that it's so big that when you enter the quadrant, if you have too much speed, then the game will like reload the water and it'll send Link down, and then his speed will be stopped from the super swim. Windfall is another island like that. That's why Great Fish Super Swim can be bad sometimes, because even if you get in the water, you could sploosh before you get to the cutscene.
Yeah, and right here I'm doing an item slide into this wall and then holding forward, which will actually clip me through the wall and put me into the water. But I can use the water at the loading zone up here to warp myself up and into the loading zone. Like, if you're underwater in this game, the game will always try to warp you to the top of the water as soon as possible.
Now we get to go see the Great Deku Tree, and then go through another cutscene after we kill the Chews.
Yeah, so we have to use a bonk here to get these Chews off. And then because we have bombs, we can actually use bombs to just kill all the Chews at once. So it's one of the minor uses that bombs have right here.
Nice, they all died right away.
Yeah, sometimes if their positioning is like scattered, you can not kill all of them with one bomb. But usually they're fine. It's much better than having to kill them with your sword, because then you have to wait for the green Chews to become vulnerable.
So then after this cutscene, the Deku Leaf will be up at the top of Forest Haven, and then we just gotta use the Deku Bulbs to get up there.
Yeah, so this is the island where we have the second pearl that we need to collect. There are 3 total pearls that we need to collect to open up the Tower of the Gods and get down into Hyrule. We got the first one at Roost Island, which Baloo gave to us. At this point in the story, the tree was actually like about to give us Ferori's Pearl, but then this guy came in and said that Makar is in danger. And the tree was like, oh, can you go save him for me? So this guy is making us go slow. Yeah, the Deku Leaf is one of the more useful items in the game because it essentially allows us to fly.
Yeah, and if there's ever like a messed up item slide too, you can use the Deku Leaf to save it.
Yeah, so general rule with item sliding is that if it takes like more than 4 rolls to get to where you need to go, item sliding will be faster if you can pull it off quickly. Unless you need to like curve around corners and stuff, because with item sliding you can generally only go like in the direction you initially start your acceleration in. It's like really hard to accurately change directions with item sliding.
You have to grapple here to get onto the next set of Deku Bulbs. And Jim's going to be skipping the last one.
You can just barely reach the collision of the branch from the second to last bulb.
It's another one of those things that is sort of harder in this game just because you can't hold straight up as easily because of no notches. So over on the other side. Hey, you go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so we can do an item slide here instead of leaping across to get into the Forbidden Woods much quicker. It's very fast. And now we can see why the bombs become useful, because lots of the puzzles in Forbidden Woods require having to kill these blue enemies that like block doors. But with bombs, we can kill the blue enemies really fast.
In the next room, Jim's going to be doing something called leaf pumping, which is where you can use the leaf and then cancel it and then bring it out again immediately. And doing it over and over again can conserve your height. So you can reach places you shouldn't be able to get to at that very moment. Because normally you would just drop down.
Yeah, so we can use... the reason I use 2 bombs right there is because if I just tried to blow up the blue enemy with 1 bomb, I'd be too close, and I wouldn't, like, it would close itself up and, like, defend itself. But if we're far enough away, we can chain 2 bombs together to blow up the enemy slightly faster. So after this room, there's a cycle that I need to hit now, with one of the roots in this room. So I need to go and blow up, or not blow up, but blow a leaf pile off of a warp pod that I'm going to be using to get back in.
You can do that item slide to get to the root quicker, and get. I think it's a cycle faster than if you just went around.
Yeah, 1 cycle faster than if you were to use the leaf. Now this next room, we can just item slide past these vines, because they don't like come up in time to stop us with how fast we're going. It kind of looks like we're just teleporting across these rooms, but what's actually happening is we have so much speed that we travel the entire distance of the room in just 1 frame.
Most of this dungeon is just item slides to get around everywhere.
Yeah, because this dungeon tries to introduce you to like using the leaf more, but we can just like skip all those uses by just item sliding across.
P-hats can be annoying in this room sometimes.
Yeah, the item slide to that like contraption is actually very slightly slower than using the leaf, but if you use the leaf, sometimes you'll get knocked into the water by the P-hat. So it's safer to do the item slide there. Anyway, now we get to the Forbidden Woods mini-boss, which is our first Mathula.
At the start of the fight, Jim's gonna walk backwards towards the door while targeting. Oh no, he didn't walk backwards. Same thing. And then you can actually get all the wings off of the boss in 1 cycle with some slashes. It makes the fight really quick.
Yeah, so ideally I backed up that Mathula against one of the trees in the room, so he couldn't move backwards while I was stabbing his wings off, because normally if he's just like out in the open, he moves back too far after each progressive stab to get all the wings off in one go. Now he's dead and we have the boomerang. And boomerang is another item that we can item slide with because it's like a first-person item, although the boomerang is a third-person item, but like the mechanics are the same, so you can use it for item sliding like a first-person item. So now we're going to use the warp pot to get back to the main room.
Now instead of boomeranging and dropping the flower platform, you can actually clip through the ground here, and it saves a couple seconds.
And then we just use item slides to get across all these rooms. I'm gonna equip bombs right here and then pull out a bomb before I open the door because it'll cancel an animation that normally happens. Of Link like looking behind to see the vines that have blocked him in. And then right after that, I can use an item slide to clip into this like little hill to get the boss key instead of having to solve the boomerang puzzle.
Then Jim's gonna have to save warp because there's no way to get out, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And it's just faster.
I mean, you could death warp, but death warping is much slower. Like, even if you were at a quarter of a heart, death warping is always slower than save warping in this game, just because of like how long it takes.
Now we can go to Calademos.
Yeah, now that we have the boomerang, killing the blue flowers that block each door is much quicker than using a bomb.
Pulls a bomb there at that door to also skip Link looking back throughout the run. So they changed the way Calademos works in this game. Compared to the original. In the original, you didn't actually need the boomerang. You could just throw bombs and it would hit Calademos' hitbox. But they changed it so in this one, the bombs don't do anything. So you need to get the boomerang.
Yeah, we'd also we don't have a boss key skip for this dungeon that we could use in runs, so we'd have to go get the boss key even if we skip the boomerang anyway. But I like the boomerang, so I'm glad that we get it.
It's nice. Plus, this fight looks really cool if you can do the vines in 2 cycles. So Jim's goal right there was to aim the boomerang in specific spots so that it would go around and then hit the other vines so that it would drop down and we can fight Calademos.
Yeah, and then once Calademos is vulnerable, it's very quick. You just do some jump/spin attacks and he's dead.
Do you know you can use forest water there?
What? Really? Oh my god. I'm having a revelation right now. Why haven't we been doing this sooner? But no, yeah, you can do a one-hit KO on Calademos with forest water, but that's actually slower just because of how long it takes to collect the forest water.
It looks cool, though. You can use it to impress your friends.
Yeah. Hashtag Wind Waker HD party tricks. Yeah, so that was the second dungeon of the game, Forbidden Woods. That's my personal favorite dungeon when speedrunning, because I like the atmosphere of it, and item sliding always feels cool.
Yeah, and it's really quick. It's not that long. Now we have another cutscene.
Although viewers tend to usually like this cutscene.
Yeah. All the Koroks singing. Car gets to play.
Yeah, so Makar's jumping animation that he does right there, if you leave the game on for like 40 minutes or so after that animation begins, Makar will actually just stop jumping and like freeze.
Nice, I didn't know that.
Because the game says like jump like a few thousand times or something.
Beautiful singing. Link looked very surprised at what was happening.
I mean, I would be too, frankly. Although, considering some of the other stuff that's happened with talking boats and being face planted into a wall, I don't know if Link should really be so surprised at this point that talking plants exist.
He goes through a lot, and that just sent him over the edge. He couldn't believe it.
Yeah, so now we're gonna save warp again to get out to Forest Haven quicker. If you want to explain the beetle swim.
So you can actually super swim off Beetle when he's close enough to Forest Haven, but it can be kind of annoying because you only get the charge off the wall in Beetle, and you have to put him in like a sort of, not really specific spot, but a spot where he's close enough. And then once you are ready to go into the water, you have to switch to like down left DSS, and then you can use that to slowly move Link into the water. But if you move too quick, then he'll sploosh, and you'll have to reset up the swim, so it can be kind of annoying. Also, Ice Ring Isle is close to Forest Haven, so if you have too much speed, you could always sploosh on Ice Ring Isle, because it's one of the splooshing islands. That was a pretty good swim.
Yeah, speed was a little low, but it was fine.
Now Jim's going to super swim off of Outset to go place Din's Pearl.
Yeah, so the reason we super swim now is because if we super swim here and then either save warp or void out after we place this pearl, which is required to place anyway, we get put in a much better spawn position on Outset for sailing around to break the lair into Jaboon's cave.
Yeah, we'll need to go into the water here and far enough away from the island so the game doesn't register you being on the island. Then once you save warp, you'll be at Outset. Doing an item hop. And he did that and then void. It was basically just an item slide, charging up a lot of speed and then performing the item slide. And as long as he had enough speed, he would go far enough distance to go out of the map and void, which does the same thing as save warping, but it's a bit faster.
Yeah, and so now we're getting all this text because this is like the text that the King of Red Lions usually gives you at the end of each area. But because we haven't talked to him in a while, it just kind of all stacks up on itself.
Now we get to go get Nairu's Pearl, the last of the 3 pearls.
And yeah, so when we break this wall, we want to shoot towards the center of the swirls because those are like the weak points of the wall. And ideally it'll only take 3 shots. And one thing about breaking down this wall is that it is possible to clip past the wall and get into the loading zone without breaking it. But the problem with that is the cutscene where we get Nehru's Pearl doesn't actually play unless we break down the wall and activate this cutscene right here.
There's a lot of Hylian in this cutscene, so this is like one of the reasons why Pajamas would be slower. Like Jim said earlier with Hylian being translated.
And so after this riveting conversation, we receive our 3rd pearl, which means that now we can go place the last 2 pearls and make our way into Tower of the Gods.
This cutscene always feels like it takes forever, but it's really not that long.
Yeah. Like Link always feels like he stares at the pearl forever before realizing, oh hey, yeah, I got this item.
Jim's gonna save warp, and that'll put him on Outset so he can easily go and super swim instead of sailing around back to land.
Yeah, because we only have the normal sail, sailing is really slow. The wind is also in a pretty bad direction for trying to sail back to the front of Outset. So save warp is roughly 3 seconds faster.
Now he's just gonna super swim to place the final 2 pearls.
Yeah, and after the first super swim, I'm going to be doing the void out off the edge of the ocean again. I have to be pretty careful with super swimming off of Outset because the amount of or the speed at which you go into the water can't be more than a certain amount. So I have to make sure that I'm going in, or that I'm not falling too much before I go into the water. Otherwise, I lose all my speed.
So the thing with these island hops Jim's doing to avoid out, if he gets too much, if he charges up for too long, he could crash the game. So these can be kind of risky, and sometimes if you do the island hop, I keep saying item hop, you won't get enough speed, and then you'll have to save warp anyway if you mess it up. So save warping's the safer way to do it, but it's faster. One more super swim to place Nairu's Pearl.
Yeah, I had a lot of speed going into that swim, so I tried to move around a bit to lose a bunch of it, which is why it looked kind of weird.
Now we get to see another cutscene of Tower of the Gods getting raised.
Yeah, another bathroom break. It's actually kind of hot in here, so I'm gonna go turn on the AC. So talk to Tiger for a little bit.
I'll be so entertaining. You guys should be excited for this. So right now Link he doesn't know what's going on. He's scared. So hi chat. Hope you guys are all enjoying the run. Cool Triforce in the ocean, and then Tower of the Gods is gonna come out of the center of it. It's a cool little cutscene, but it's just, we wish it would be over sooner so then we could just play the game. Because this game definitely does not have enough cutscenes. There should be more.
Totally not. We need full-on 2-hour movies for each cutscene.
I don't want to ever play the game in my speedrun. I just want to sit here and watch.
There are actually 3 different versions of this cutscene depending on which pearl you place last, so that it makes logical sense when Link gets blown off which island he's on.
Link gets hit again.
And once again, Link's
alive though.
Into the wall. It's okay though. The acceleration that he feels when he smacks into the wall is nothing compared to item sliding, so he's fine. Yeah, so up here is where we do the one wind change that we have to do. We're going to change the wind from east to northwest. And this will make all the sailing and the rest of the run work out. What little
it'll help a lot after we get the Master Sword.
So one annoying thing about sailing is that King of Red Lines will slow down whenever you get near an island or any kind of structure. So you can keep your speed by jumping after you pull out the sail each time.
So we're actually going to skip the first floor of Tower of the Gods by doing a bomb ledge clip out of bounds and then leaf pumping to the end of the first floor past the waterfall. You can get on this little pillar here with a jump. And then when you try to grab the ledge and then move to the left, the bomb's there, so it pushes you out of bounds to the right, and then you can go past the waterfall.
And now we need to place these 2 statues on these switches.
The rats can be annoying.
Yeah. I had a pretty bad rat roll the other day. Right there. For this third switch, though, we can roll across it so that we can get to the platforms during the cutscene while they're moving about, and not have to wait for an extra cycle. And then, of course, we can item slide to save movement time. These next few rooms.
Now we just gotta take the statue underneath the platform and walk it around.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no item sliding with statues. So whenever we take a statue back, we have to just, like, walk. It is actually very slightly faster to side hop with statues above your head, or while Link has anything above his head, because you can't roll. But that's, like, really a TAS-only thing. Because it doesn't save very much time, and it's, like, hard to line up correctly.
Then here, these chews won't hit you as long as you jump on the platform when it gets there.
Yeah, so now with the first statue, we reveal the command melody pedestal.
We don't actually use the command melody in this dungeon. It'll be used in Earth Temple and Wind Temple later.
Yeah, all the command melody uses in this dungeon you can skip. But you have to actually get the command melody just to, like, progress on through, because it opens up the barred door that leads to the second statue, like, hallway. And now there's a consistent magic drop on this pot to the left of the door we're about to go through, so I get that to refill my magic.
Now in this room, once you wave at the statue, you can actually side hop along the pillars at the edge of the room to skip having to move it around the room and then wait for it to get to the other side.
Yes, this is one of the command melody skips we do. Requires a pretty precise positioning and angle, but if your angle is correct, you can just side hop around the pillar. Also, placing statues on switches is very difficult.
Yeah, it can be really annoying.
Then we can just item slide across. I don't know why we never did that earlier, but it saves time.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that until you just did it.
It's like, wait a minute.
So with this Dark Nut, Jim's gonna want to do 3 quick spins and then just a normal slash on the Dark Nut and then parry it. And then once its armor comes off, a jump spin attack will kill it quick.
Yeah, so the damage that we do to the armor actually carries over to the Dark Nut itself because of how we knocked the armor off from the back. If you break the armor, the health will get reset properly, but for some reason, if you knock it off like that, it doesn't get reset properly.
Now we have the bow.
And so the bubbles moved in a cool way that allowed me to get rid of both of them with the leaf after I shot the eye with the arrow.
Nice.
The bubbles can either like move inward or outward right there, so thankfully they both moved inward, which allowed me to do that strat.
And you don't need to worry about the second one trying to get you while you're going across the platforms. So only one more statue left to get in Tower of the Gods before we go up to the second half of it.
And so like the boomerang and the grapple hook, the bow is an item that we can item slide with.
In this next room, the platform cycle's already fine, so you can just go to the left with the leaf to get the chest right away. Or item slide. Another one. Did not think about.
Yeah, unfortunately I lost time with that one because I accidentally grabbed the ledge with my angle. It was fine. Because doing that item slide only saves like half a second or so over using a leaf.
Here's the Keese room. The Keese like to be very, very mean. You to get up the ladder sometimes.
They just want to cuddle with Link.
Crowd the ladder and they won't let you up. They're really nice.
In this next room, we can just kind of skip past these lasers with item slides. In general, you can item slide through any actor in the game. Just due to how they're programmed. If you have enough speed. And then we can get back using the invincibility frames.
So now instead of just the keys, we have the whiz robe to deal with. Oh no.
Yeah, I accidentally fell down there because my movement was bad. It's okay though. Not the worst mistake in the world.
So here Jim will go onto the platform with the third statue and then throw it from that platform so he can immediately get the statue and go to the end of the room to save time.
Yeah, so now we've got all three statues. Unfortunately, we can't... I don't think there's ever going to be a way to skip those three statues if we have to complete Tower of the Gods.
Yeah.
Just because you need them to open up this pink portal. Alright, there we go. I tried to do a little thing right there. For some reason, like how Link walks up to this ledge, sometimes you can climb it, sometimes you can't. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's really weird. Can do an item.
Yeah, item sliding past more lasers.
Now we have the boss key. We can go fight Gonan, which has some RNG involved, which is always great.
Everyone loves RNG. Convenient bomb drop by that Armos, though.
Nice.
Anyway,
we
with
can
this
item slide into
cutscene,
this.
yeah. We'll just slide through during the cutscene and get past some of the lasers. You may have been noticing that, like, whenever I do an item slide, I'll pull out a bomb and drop it after a certain amount of time. That's because if I keep being in first person, I'll actually keep on gaining speed, even if I'm not holding anything. So I want to not gain too much speed, because if you have too much speed, you can crash, or you can, like, clip through stairs and stuff. And so you need to just, like, regulate that a little bit to make sure that you can get up to where you need to go safely.
So whoever made this game stole this boss out of SM64.
Yeah, this is a very original boss right here. This idea totally hasn't been rehashed like a dozen times in Nintendo games.
The RNG thing is with these hands, they're actually on a timer to respawn. So once you kill one, if the timer runs out, it could respawn right away, and you'll have to kill it again before the head's eyes open.
Yeah, the movement of the head is also a little bit random. Sometimes, like, he'll move in such a way that you can get shots in on him quicker, which is what I tried to do right there. But if he moves too fast, you actually can't get those shots in. Also, if he's, like, above you, it's not going to work, obviously. And we can cancel the attacks that Godin tries to give us by, like, walking under him.
Yeah, and sometimes he'll try to attack you while he's over the electric. Just like that.
Okay, so yeah, one of the hands respawned in this third phase, or this third cycle.
Yeah, there's not much Jim could do about that. It's just RNG and when the timer's gonna run out.
Yeah, so unfortunately that fight was like subpar compared to what most fights usually would be. But that also has to just do with like how Goto moves and what the RNG of the hand respawns are.
Now we're done with Tower of the Gods.
Yeah. At least for me, like Tower of the Gods to me is like one of the most boring dungeons speedrun wise, so it's nice that we're done with it.
Yeah, I just let my mind take over. I don't really pay attention to the game during it. Best part of the game is coming up. You get to ring a bell.
Oh yeah, it's very exciting. In the original game, this bell that we're about to go and ring, you can actually ring it from the bottom of the ladder that we have to climb, but they unfortunately patched that in HD, so we're forced to climb the ladder.
Now we're gonna be going to Hyrule. It's always fun to get the Master Sword.
Yeah, so once again, for anybody who's might just be joining us, we are playing this in the Spanish language. The Italian language is actually a little bit faster than the Spanish, but I don't have access to Italian at this moment. Many people often ask why Japanese isn't used, and the reason for that is because when the developers made this game, the localizers actually sped up the text speed for every single dialect except Japanese. So the Japanese text scrolls at 1 character per frame, whereas every other language scrolls at 4 characters per frame. And because of that, Japanese is really slow for this game. But it's also kind of nice because if Japanese was the fastest, we'd have to like spend a lot of money to get the Japanese version, which none of us want to do.
Yeah, the way it is now, as long as you have an NTSC U, Wii U, or a PAL Wii U, then you can already run on one of the fastest languages. Since languages are all... the way the Wii U games work is whatever language the system's in, that's what language the game's going to be played in.
Yeah, who knew there was a castle under the ocean?
Crazy. Cutscene's almost over.
Just in time for more cutscenes.
Yeah. Cutscene, an item slide, and then a cutscene.
Yeah, so this cutscene, it is actually possible to skip this cutscene when entering this area, but it's kind of difficult and it only saves 3 seconds, so it's not really worth it. You'd also have to do the trick to skip the cutscene twice because we are going to come back to Hyrule Castle later.
So right after this cutscene, we're going to skip the puzzle by moving the blocks just by item sliding into the back of the statue. You can just clip right through.
Yeah, the object is sloped in such a way that you just pretty much immediately clip through it. It's really easy. It's like one of the easiest tricks in the game right there. Another thing you can use to impress your friends. Anyway, now we have the Master Sword, though. It does 2 times as much damage as the Hero Sword does. But it doesn't matter like what iteration of the Master Sword you have, because you do power up the Master Sword a few times in this run. But every time it gets powered up, it just changes visually. The damage output is still the same.
And then there's another cutscene.
Item slide cutscene. Item slide cutscene. Item slide cutscene.
Very entertaining speedrun.
Yeah.
Now all the
Yeah, so
moblins and dark knights are gonna be moving.
Yes, we have some enemies we gotta deal with now, but we're gonna deal with them by ignoring them, as they don't matter. And now Link admires his colored surroundings.
Looks really nice.
It does look nice. Unfortunately, we don't get to see the stained glass images of all the sages from Ocarina of Time because they're blocked by the repetitive statues.
Yeah. There's another item slide, but not a cutscene, so it's different.
Well, there's a small cutscene after the
Yeah. Very small one.
But yeah, because I got an arrow drop from Godin for using too many arrows, I don't have to get an arrow drop here, so I can do an item slide past the pot. It usually gives me arrows.
So in order to skip all these enemies, he's just going to do a bomb ledge clip and then clip out of bounds and then leaf to the loading zone.
Yeah, so unfortunately we're on the wrong side of the castle, so we have to save warp to get back to the other side. But it's still much faster than fighting all the enemies.
So you guys might be thinking, where's barrier skip? I thought he was going to do barrier skip. We don't actually do barrier skip until after Forsaken Fortress 2. Because after Forsaken Fortress 2, the animation set in the game switches to the second one. So if you try to do barrier skip now, we still have animation set 1. And going into the Puppet Ganon cutscene would actually crash the game.
Yeah, so spoiler, we're going to be doing sequence breaks in 20 minutes.
The meme skip.
But for right now, we're gonna be doing one quadrant sailing section over to Northern Triangle Isle, because we're gonna get the Ballad of Gales right there. And the Ballad of Gales allows us to warp to certain quadrants on the map, which is useful, because we can't super swim away from every single quadrant on the overworlds, because we need a slope that goes into the water to be able to super swim. But yeah, like Tiger was saying, this game has 2 animation sets. The animation sets handle just the general animations that Link goes through for each cutscene of the game. The first set handles cutscenes in the first half, the second set handles cutscenes in the second half. Unfortunately, if you try to enter a cutscene with the wrong animation set, the game will crash. The game actually can handle the animation sets fine, but the reason it crashes is because the game tries to assert that it has the right animation set, and because the assertion statement, there we go. Because the assertion statement fails, the game crashes. If you use hacks to bypass those statements, the cutscenes actually look pretty funny because the animations are all messed up.
Nice. Now we're just going to get Ballad of the Gales. And then we're going to go to Windfall.
Yeah, so we just got the Ballad of Gales, and it's immediately useful. Helps us get to Windfall fast. The next destination we want to go to is Forsaken Fortress, and the quickest way to get there is with a super swim. And the easiest island to super swim off of is Windfall, so it's just why we warp to Windfall in this run a lot.
Yeah, Windfall is a very nice spot to just super swim and get into the water smoothly.
Sometimes you can get like trolled a little bit though. There are times where like you might accidentally clip through Windfall.
So there's a small spot on the outside of Forsaken Fortress that you can use to item slide clip through. So now we get to fight Phantom Ganon, and there's a bit of RNG on this fight, whether he'll be up in the air shooting balls at you, or if he'll spawn right next to you so you can immediately hit him.
Yeah, so I'm taking damage right now for a skip that we're going to be doing in a few minutes that requires me to have low health. I didn't get hit by Phantom Cannon right there because I actually had invincibility from getting damaged by the peg.
Good RNG on the fight.
Yeah, the RNG was really good though. So that was nice. The air spawns take a little bit longer to deal with.
So now we're getting the Skull Hammer, and it does the same thing that the bomb does, where when you're item sliding, if you pull it out, then you stop charging speed, so... And that helps when there's like not that much land to do the Super Swim on, so then you can pull out the Skull Hammer instead of picking up the... You would have to drop it.
Yeah, so Forsaken Fortress now is like an item sliding playground. Just constant item sliding to get to the top.
You skip a lot of it with that item slide right there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I got a little too aggressive and ended up falling down, but that's fine. We can use a ladder to get back up.
Places to fall down while doing these item slides.
Okay. I'm not gonna, because if Link targets the mini Blinn right there, that can mean bad news. Yeah, so now that we've entered this cutscene, the animation sets have actually switched, so now we have animation set 2 instead of set 1.
Now we won't crash once we do barrier skip and go to Puppet Ganon.
Yeah, exactly.
Link's really scared for this cutscene.
Yeah, so as characteristic it is in cartoons, clearly these characters are small enough to fit through the like space in between the wooden bars of the prison, but of course that's just not possible.
But Jim, the door's locked. You can't get out.
Oh shoot, dang it.
It's impossible.
Yeah, I forgot about that, dang. Yeah, so this is like where the infamous sword jiggle would happen in the original game, but they patched it in this one for some reason. Some of the patches they made in this game, compared to the original, were just simple things like crashes that could sometimes happen, or like little soft locks, so those are nice, but they also patched some glitches that were cool in the original game. But they also did add in item sliding, which is not possible in the original game, so...
Yeah, without item sliding, we wouldn't have barrier skip, so...
Yeah.
After this cutscene is a really cool item slide.
Yeah, it's like one of the iconic item slides.
Oh, hey, the door's open.
Oh yeah, it is. Although now it's going to close and lock for some reason.
Here comes the Helmarok King.
The grand burb to end all other burbs.
It's also a very difficult fight. Almost impossible.
Difficult fight, lots of RNG. Totally terrible in 100%. But this isn't 100%, so... Anyway, during this item slide, Link looks like he's just completely done and wants to get things over with. Unfortunately, I was too far to the left, so
yeah.
it's okay though. We can just item slide back into the Helmrock King.
So when you grab the ledge here, because of Link's like animation with him panting and everything, you actually get pushed through the ground as long as you have under 1.5 hearts.
Yeah, the breathing animation changes Link's hitbox, so that happens.
And you can just walk along the outside.
And then you can jump onto the path and make your way up to Ganon.
And another cutscene.
Yeah, now the real cutscene gauntlet begins. So if you need to like take a break or like refill your snacks, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, there will be a lot of time.
Should you go get your Doritos?
Why doesn't Link just kill Ganon right now? I mean, he's right there.
I know, it would make the run so much shorter.
It'd be great if the run just ended here. Link randomly, he's like, I'm done, we're killing him now.
Yeah, so one interesting thing about this cutscene is that in the any % run, you actually enter this cutscene without the Master Sword, but the cutscene will just kind of automatically give you the Master Sword if you play it. So, like, if we were to come in here without the Master Sword, we'd get the Master Sword in this cutscene. It works the same way with the shield also. If you come in without a shield, the game will give you a shield.
Because Link uses those items in the cutscene, so it just gives you the right item that you should have in the cutscene.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you other things like inventory items, but getting the Master Sword is pretty good.
Little taste of the hues right there.
Oh yeah, the hues. The hues will be in full force later in the run, don't worry. But now suddenly, plot twist. The smaller burbs rescue us, and the big dragon sets fire to Forsaken Fortress.
Just looking Valu in the face, he doesn't even care.
Although, of course, because of plot armor, Ganondorf has to survive till the end of the game. Game would not really make much sense if Ganondorf was dead before the end.
Very interesting.
Yeah, here's more Hylian text, the fastest text in the game. If there was an option to play this game in all Hylian text, that would be the definitively fastest language.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And then nobody would be able to understand anything. It would be perfect.
But I need my story in my speedruns. How will I understand what's happening without all the story?
Just make up your own story. Replace the Triforce with the Doritos. Replace the overworld with, like, Ralph's or something.
Now we're going back to Hyrule for the second time. Don't have to watch the long cutscene of Link and Coral going down.
Yeah, so now the king tells us that we need to go down to the Master Sword Chamber because he has important plot information that we really care about.
Yeah, and a long cutscene to go with it, so it's great. They give you a lot of plot in a cutscene. My two favorite things in this run. There's not enough of it yet.
Yeah, unfortunately, watching this cutscene is required The reason we need to watch it is because if we don't, then we can't get back up to the overworld at all. So unfortunately, we gotta do this. Which sucks because this is one of the like really long cutscenes in the run.
Yeah. Also, large spoilers. If you haven't played the game, giant spoiler. But doesn't matter that much.
Oh yeah, Linkus is my lover. In case you guys didn't know, me and Linkus are dating.
Guess you didn't tell me.
I thought you knew.
I'm so confused right now. This is where we find out, like, you're not joking. You're getting married next week.
Yeah, I'll fly out to Sweden.
Linkus X Gym fanfiction.
Oh god. I am afraid of what I may have just started. In the meantime, though, let's watch Tetra lose all her personality.
This is where you find out that Tetra is the king of red lions. She's just a boat. See?
Yeah, and she has the magical Cool Ranch Dorito.
Hey chat, do you guys like Tetra better or Zelda? People love answering this question. I forgot that your file name was Frank or Z for a second, and I looked over, I'm like, why does the game say Frank or Z?
Yeah. I mean, one of the good parts about there being lots of cutscenes, like, at least one of the small good parts, is that you do get to see the file name a lot. Frank or Z, rapido.
Cutscene's almost over. We're almost done.
They were too lazy to animate the King of Red Lions walking, so they just made him teleport everywhere.
We basically can do the same thing with item sliding, though.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe the King of Hyrule just knows how to item slide as a ghost. Anyway, all joking aside, it is now time for the barrier skip. Hope you guys are all prepared. So there's a giant barrier around Hyrule Castle. It's supposed to keep you from accessing the end of the game until, like, you've done most of the game. But it's flawed, so we can just go through it.
Yeah, there's a tiny hole in the middle that, with enough speed and the right angle, you can just go right through with an item slide.
Yeah, so the first part of the barrier is the knockback barrier. We need to cancel this part of the barrier to actually do the barrier skip. And I'm going to be turning off my gyro controls as I do a very precise lineup right here.
Basically, Jim's looking at the top left for the Hylian crest, and then he's going to line it up so a very small amount of the barrier is looking through left. And he charges an item slide against the bridge, and then with the perfect angle and the right speed, he can just go through the middle of the barrier because they left a small part there that's allowed to be gone through.
Oh no. Man. Alright, unfortunately, you get to see barrier skip a second time because I was really greedy with my item slide speed. So let's just do this again.
If you avoid there, you have to redo barrier skip.
Yeah. Also, the knockback cancel that we do is frame perfect, so it's pretty common to fail it a bunch of times.
The harder part of barrier skip. Also, I should mention with this item slide for barrier skip, if Link would, and not like if Jim would just target, he would actually go to the left, because when you target with the grappling hook, you go to the left, so he has to tap up and then hit target so that he can get out of charging.
Alright, that's better. We successfully crossed the gap.
First try.
Yeah. First try every second time.
So you're not
Yes.
supposed to be here.
Yeah. The game does not want you to be here this early.
So here's gonna be trials skip. The trials are long and annoying. You don't really have to do them.
Yeah.
You can get on top of the doors and then do a bomb ledge clip and then leaf to the loading zone.
Yeah, if there was no barrier skip, if there was no trial skip, barrier skip would actually be useless, so it's good that trial skip exists.
Really nice.
And now we're essentially at the end of the game, much earlier than intended. First thing we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be opening up the portal between Ganon's Tower and Forsaken Fortress. Because this is the All Dungeons category, but we haven't completed all the dungeons yet. So we
Yeah,
still
this
have
is
to
what
go do
lets
some
you
of
skip
that.
the Triforce quest. Since you can just come right back here after you beat Wind Temple instead of doing the Triforce quest to get to Hyrule 3 and make it to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, so the biggest advantage of barrier skip is being able to skip the Triforce quest, as the Triforce quest takes about 40 minutes to do in this version of the game. But there are also some other things we can do here, such as get the light arrows early, which is really good, because the light arrows are completely overpowered and they destroy a lot of enemies. So
Yeah.
they make some of the fights really fast and trivial.
Now we get to do a maze. It's a really difficult maze. No one knows the
yeah.
way to the end.
Maze is really hard. The solution to this maze is the same every time, so we just memorize it.
Down, left, straight, left, right, straight.
Yeah.
I'm your wiki, guys. Ask me any questions about how to beat this game.
And then once again, before the last room, we can pull a bomb so that Link doesn't look behind himself when the bars close down. I also got
Oh,
the
good
best
RNG.
Phantom Ganon RNG, yeah. If he spawns in a circle, the real one is always going to be the one directly behind Link.
So now he's gonna get the light arrows, and getting the light arrows also gives you the fire and ice arrows.
Yeah, you
So he
get the
doesn't need to go
package
get
set.
those.
If I were to go get the fire and ice arrows, I'd actually end up deleting my light arrows, which wouldn't be good. So, thankfully that doesn't happen.
Now we're gonna fight Phantom Ganon again, but with light arrows. This next area is gonna have a lot of cool item slides to get to the Moblins and the Dark Nuts.
Yeah. So the final staircase is just a really long staircase that's made faster by item sliding. And if we line up our light arrows correctly, we can get double shots on the last two pairs of enemies.
Nice, that was clean.
Unfortunately, I missed the last one, but it's fine. Anyway, right now we're going to be watching the Puppet Ganon cutscene, but not fighting Puppet Ganon. The reason for that is because when we enter this cutscene, the game's actually going to give us the Mirror Shield and fully powered up Master Sword to use for the rest of the run. So thank you, game.
Yeah, and since we have the Mirror Shield, we don't need to get it at Earth Temple, so we can skip the whole first half of Earth Temple.
Yeah, normally the Mirror Shield is the item that you obtain like halfway through the Earth Temple. But because you already have it, the first half is like completely useless. Also, having the fully powered up Master Sword right now is going to be setting some completion flags in Wind Temple. that normally we'd like have to watch some cutscenes that we can now skip.
Yeah, getting the fully powered Master Sword and the Mirror Shield is pretty helpful.
It works the same way as the explanation with the Ganon cutscene that we watched earlier at Forsaken Fortress. Basically, because Link is using the item models during the cutscene, it just decides to give us the items completely.
Once we get to Puppet Ganon, the fight, we won't actually do anything. We're just going to save warp.
Yeah. You could fight Puppet Ganon now, but magic-wise, it's much more convenient to fight Puppet Ganon later.
For scary Puppet Ganon.
Yeah, spoopy puppet. I don't like it.
That's why we're just going to save warp and get out of here as fast as we can.
So yeah, big epic animation. Get you ready to fight Puppet Ganon. But no. Bye.
Yeah, it's like, look, we're here. Nope, we don't want to do this right now.
Yeah, so now we're going to leave back through the portal that we opened. The reason we went to open the portal first is because doing that will skip 2 really long cutscenes that the game would normally then play, where it shows you what order you need to hit the switches in to activate the portal.
So now we're just going to be in Forsaken Fortress. Then Jim's going to battle the Gales to Tower of the Gods, and doing that will give him a set of text that he needs to clear, because if he doesn't, then Medley won't be on Dragon Roost Island, so we won't be able to continue.
Yeah, we need Medley to be present if we want to get into the Earth Temple, so it's kind of necessary to do that.
And the text isn't that long.
Yeah, the game also sped up the day-night cycle to nighttime because Forsaken Fortress is still in its second state, which is also a flag that this text we're going to clears. Anyway, first order of business after this text is to go to Fire Mountain to get the power bracelets. Because we need the power bracelets to get the Earth God's Lyric. We could skip using the power bracelets there, but the required use that we need for the power bracelets is picking up Jalhala, who's the boss of the Earth Temple.
Sadly, Link isn't strong enough without the power bracelets.
Yeah.
So the main goal with this Super Swim is to try to sploosh underneath Fire Mountain, so that Jim can just go out and then he would void out from the lava. And then doing that would skip a save warp.
Yeah, unfortunately my speed is really slow, so I don't have enough time to do that.
Yeah.
But it's fine, the save warp still works. Getting the void out is not something that's easily consistent to try and do.
Because you need a higher speed and then a good angle so that you don't sploosh beforehand.
Yeah, so once again, we got the fire and ice arrows when we got the light arrows. Because the fire and ice arrows that you get from Mother and Child Isles are a completely different item than the light arrows that you get in Ganon's Tower. So each of them have the fire and ice arrows separately coded in. Now we just climb Fire Mountain.
The only thing to worry about on the climb is the bird, but he's usually not a problem.
Yeah, sometimes the Cardrock will try to attack you. And then we can use the leaf to cross the Sidle Gap and to activate the loading zone sooner. Because if you're above a loading zone in this game and you use the leaf, the zone will instantly get activated, no matter how high above it you are.
Then right there, Jim did an item slide against the wall, and doing that got enough speed, and he clipped over to the other side of Fire Mountain. And then he could just use light arrows on one of the Magtails and make that fight quick.
Yeah, using light arrows on simpler enemies is usually slower for the most part because it actually takes a while for the light arrow to like vaporize the enemy. But because I need to kill both of them, I can shoot one with the light arrow and then kill the other.
Then another save warp so that we're outside and he can battle the Gales to Windfall. So then we can super swim to Earth Temple. But we're not going in Earth Temple yet.
No, yeah, we have to go learn the Earth God's lyric first and then present it to Medley. Also, after every time we save warp, I have to replay the Ballad of the Gales every time I want to play it. Like, Link goes through the playing animation for it. That wouldn't happen if we didn't save warp between the uses. So that's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, it's just a small time loss that we can't do anything about. Good swim.
Yeah, it was a weird swim, but it worked.
Yeah,
I usually
manageable
prefer to
speed though.
have higher speed for these swims, but like if it's lower speed, it's like easier to get up onto the island.
Get another cutscene after Jim plays the song.
Yeah, so many people, like, for some reason, think that you could do the Earth and Wind temples in whatever order you wanted. That's not true. The game forces you to do Earth Temple first. But you can get both of the songs before you enter an Earth Temple. So that is possible. Also, this is Lardis, Sage of the Earth Temple. And an ancestor of Medley, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. Nice music in this cutscene. So after here, Jim's gonna super swim off the island to Ice Ring Isle so that we can get iron boots.
Alright, screwed up the item slide a little bit.
This is one of those islands where using the skull hammer is easier to get the swim going than the bombs to stop charging speed.
Yeah, so unlike Fire Mountain, we can just climb up Ice Ring and void out instantly. Which is nice. I don't even think a save warp would actually work here. And then we shoot a fire arrow. I was able to get the chest also with that fire arrow, so that was really nice.
Nice.
And then I can use the chest to climb up over this wall quicker. Instead of having to, like, go all the way around.
And then leaf to the final ice block.
And then we can use just a quick item slide to get to the Iron Boots chest. The Iron Boots only have one re-requirement in this run, so it kind of sucks that we have to get them.
Yeah.
But it is required. Because the Iron Boots open up a barred door in the Wind Temple. And you can't get past barred doors other than opening them, so a little inconvenient.
So now we're gonna go to Dragon Roost Island so we can see Medley.
Yeah, so now we're gonna go get Burb Girl. And take her to the Earth Temple with us.
There's gonna be another long cutscene with Medley.
I believe that was also the last Ballad of Gale's use in the whole run.
The super swim at the end of Wind Temple. Not Wind Temple, Earth Temple.
Yeah.
Get to use the rock again.
Yeah, Yeah, so we can't item slide inside like the hub area, so we just have to deal with rolling. There is a convenient like full magic drop that we can get outside on the left though, in
it's really
preparation
nice
for
there.
Earth Temple, because Earth Temple uses a lot of magic. And we can skip climbing that ladder with some precise movement before Link looks like he's gonna shoot Medley.
He looks really cool when he's stopped there.
He's like, should I kill her now, or should I wait?
I mean, if he killed her now, we wouldn't have to watch the cutscene, but then we wouldn't be able to get into Earth Temple, which would kind of be a problem.
I accidentally talked to Medley again. It's the second time I've done that in this run. I did that back when she gave us Father's letter, like, at the half-hour point. I just love talking to her.
He's just so great. Nice turnaround.
Yeah, there's one frame before, like, the fade-out starts where you can do an input. And now suddenly Medley remembers what her purpose in life is.
This is just a really nice cutscene that I never really
Stop
watched.
talking. Stop talking. Just kidding. But, yeah.
Good music.
Alright, music's over. We can talk again.
Master Sword's just floating. There's a Triforce on the ground.
Yeah. Even though that Master Sword was the, like, base Master Sword, we still have the fully powered up Master Sword that Puppet Ganon gave us.
Now Medley's awake again. So then after this cutscene ends, we're gonna super swim from Dragon Roost Island to Wind Temple so we can learn the Wind Song. It's like Jib said earlier, you don't need to get it after beating Earth Temple. You can get it beforehand. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, the only real requirement for getting normally the requirements for getting that song, the Wind God's Aria, are the Iron Boots and the Skull Hammer, both of which we have. I'm just going to do a quick super swim over to Gale Isle. And if we go into a loading zone with the Iron Boots, they get taken off when we come out the other side, so we can just keep them on. It is
really
possible to, like, learn this song without the Skull Hammer or the Iron Boots, but it, like, takes 2 minutes to do that trick, so obviously it's not worth it. That's actually one of the tricks that uses zombie hover in this game. That's, like, actually consistent to do.
Now we have all the songs that we're gonna need throughout the run.
Yeah, so now the only song that we don't have is the Song of Passing, which is the only song that the game never requires you to get. We could have technically also skipped the Ballad of Gales and the Windsor Requiem, but it would have been slower for us to do that.
We get Frito here with us.
Oh yeah, and the Spanish version is, this sage's name is Frito.
We got Fritos in this run. We have Doritos in this run. This is crazy.
Yeah. A marketing ploy from the chip industry.
Just gonna super swim off of this island to Earth Temple. This is a kind of hard swim just because the way the island is.
Yeah, you also need a lot of speed for this swim.
Yeah.
I got a really good amount of speed, so we'll be fine. Thankfully, this time we go to Earth Temple. We don't need to like go up the south like opening because there's like a giant cutscene trigger around it.
Yeah, as long as you get close enough, you'll be fine.
I also switched to light arrows while I was item sliding out of Gale Isle because I'm going to be using light arrows in Earth Temple to kill some enemies.
Earth Temple's a really fun dungeon. It's like the shortest in the run.
Yeah, Earth
Mirror
Temple's...
shield.
Yeah. Because we already have the mirror shield, we can just skip the whole first half. Earth Temple also has some of the more precise tricks in the run.
Yeah, the boss key skip can be hard at first.
Also, Medley is just a little camera shy right now.
I love doing that. Now we can enter Earth Temple.
Yeah, so it would be possible to skip that Songstone if there was a way we could get on top of it. But unfortunately, there's no way to do that. But even if we were to get into Earth Temple early, Medley actually wouldn't be there. Medley and Makar aren't in like their respective temples by default. The trigger for them actually being in the temple is them dropping into the loading zone, like you just saw right there. It's kind of strange why that would be the flag for it. That's just what it is.
So Jim's going to do an item slide in this room. He's going to throw Medley in the direction near the one tower and then do an item slide onto the other one. So then he can skip having to leaf with her. Well, fly with her and then leaf. Oh, he missed that item slide there.
Yeah, and I got greedy with my speed again. To wait longer. There we go.
So that we can just fly Medley up to the tower instead of having to take her to the one on the left, and then we have to leaf over to the one on the right.
Alright, so now in this next room there's lots of chews. The purple chews we can kill with light arrows, instead of having to, like, make them solid.
Just another reason why light arrows now is really helpful.
And so now we get to the part where we can skip everything between the first and second half. Because we already have the mirror shield, we can just solve this puzzle normally and continue on to the second part of the dungeon.
Finally get to use command melody.
Yeah. Then once again, side hopping while you're carrying something over your head is faster than just walking.
And side hopping down the stairs looks pretty cool.
And looks like we're gonna get hit by some enemies over here, but we're not. Like, if you do that correctly, you will never get hit by those enemies.
Also with this song, I don't know the reason, you probably do though, Jim. Sometimes when you play it, Medley will not be there, and then she like sometimes will void. I think I had it once where she didn't void. And it can be really annoying when she voids there.
Oh, you mean like if you do the if you replace her position?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you don't do it during that cutscene.
Yeah, I did it once, and I was like, "Oh, look, it'll be funny again," and then it wasn't.
Yeah, you can like change Medley's position during that cutscene by rolling before the cutscene begins. But if you do that, sometimes Medley will go out of bounds, and then she voids out, and you like void out also. Anyway, now we need to fly across this gap and pull this statue. We're not going to pull the statue all the way because we don't need to. The light will still work even if it's one short of being pushed all the way.
Jim's gonna do a roll clip in this room so that he can fly out of bounds and then land in between like the fence thing there, so then he can pick up Medley. And doing this skips using a small key to get into the other room normally.
And then I can skip using the command melody again if I throw Medley specifically, so that she's directly in front of me.
And he wants full magic for the boss key skip that's coming up.
Yeah, so the roll clip that we just did to skip the small key is like the first kind of hard trick in this dungeon. The next one, which is harder, is the boss key skip.
Yeah, which is also done using a bomb to do a roll clip.
So we're done with Medley now. There is a way to actually skip that second song stone, but it's really slow. And it wastes a lot of magic.
Bye forever, Medley. Until the cutscene at the end, but goodbye forever. So here, Jim can place a bomb behind him. And then grab the ledge. And clip Link a bit out of bounds. And then do a roll clip frame of input. And he does that backwards. And since you get a lot of speed from your rolls in this game, he goes up pretty high and he can pull out the leaf. And then use it to leaf pump to the loading zone behind the boss door.
Yeah, so unfortunately, because I failed it once, I only get to shoot one light arrow on Jalhalla now. Light arrows, oddly enough, do work to make Jalhalla solid, even though you're not supposed to normally have them right now.
Yeah, it's really weird that they made that happen.
So instead of using the light arrow on the first phase, I'm actually going to try to use it on the third phase instead. Because that's usually like the worst phase with the light cycles and everything.
And if he's lucky, after he kills the pose, he could get a magic drop.
Yeah. It's like, ideally I'd get a magic drop after killing this first set of 5 pose. Oh, nice, okay. So I got an orb, which will have magic in it.
In each cycle, the game only wants you to kill 5 pose. You can kill more, but it's frame perfect.
Yeah, if you want to kill more, you have to kill the last ones all in the same frame. So, like, you could possibly one-cycle this boss if and only if you can kill 11 pose on the exact same frame.
So there's the cool light arrow shot.
These pose got really spread out, unfortunately. So that was a kind of slow last phase. But thankfully, at least it wasn't a 4 cycle. If you take too long, the pose will, like, even if there's just 1 po left, it'll form back into the mask. And you actually can't use light arrows on the pose, oddly enough. If you try to do that, the pose, they'll look like they die, but they don't actually die. They cause like a longer than usual, like Jalhalla reformation cutscene to happen. So it's just not useful to do. Anyway, we're done with the Earth Temple.
Only one more temple left.
Yeah, we just got the Wind Temple left, and then we'll have completed all the dungeons, and we can make our way back to beat the game.
Medley's magically in the boss room. She knows how to do boss key skip.
Yeah, she found her way back. Actually, funnily enough, there is actually a way you can clip Medley through the boss door and get her to the loading zone. But unfortunately, Medley doesn't activate the loading zone, as Link would. Because Medley's hitbox is actually, like, smaller than Link, so she can clip through the side of the boss door.
Nice.
Yeah, so we came into this dungeon with the fully powered Master Sword, but this cutscene right here is actually going to downgrade our Master Sword to the half-powered Master Sword. And that's
really
actually,
important.
yeah, that's actually really important, because if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be able to get into Wind Temple. Because we do have the Wind God's Aria right now to play to Makar, but Makar will only appear at Forest Haven if we have the half-powered Master Sword.
And after the Master Sword gets downgraded, if you would save warp or anything, then you would get the fully charged Master Sword again, which would be a soft lock, and Makar wouldn't be at Forest Haven.
Yeah, so I'm not allowed to quit the game between now and getting into Wind Temple. Otherwise, Makar goes bye-bye, and you actually can't complete the run.
Yeah, once Makar gets caught in Wind Temple, then it's fine to save warp, because we won't need him anymore. So now Jim's going to do a super swim from the island to Forest Haven. And it doesn't save that much time.
Yeah, so that was a good super swim. If done correctly, it saves around 15 seconds over warping to Forest Haven. And in the grass right here before the cave, we can get some magic. Usually there's a little more magic than that, but at least we got some magic.
Yeah, it sucks when there's no magic drops. Now we get to play Makar's song.
Yeah, so
Get to play along with us.
unlike Medley, Makar's text is like all quick text, so we get through with him much faster. The cutscene of Makar playing his song is also faster.
Hope you guys enjoy this music. You're gonna hear it again later.
Yeah. So now we, the audience, or the player, are supposedly clapping for that musical performance.
Whoa, that was great.
Signor Franker Z, we must go to Wind Temple.
It's perfect.
Oh yeah, no, this is the last Ballad of Gale's Use. Forgot.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about this. Also, Makar's on the top of King of Red Lions. You guys didn't know that? It's just hanging out on his head.
Oh yeah.
Now there's just gonna be a quick super swim from Windfall to Wind Temple, because they're really close on the map.
Yeah, and the cutscene for getting into Wind Temple is really short. It's just like 3 text boxes.
Yeah, it's much shorter than the one before Earth Temple.
And unfortunately, Makar walks really slowly, so it's actually faster to pick him up and throw him towards the song stone so he can get close enough for the song to activate correctly.
Whenever we need to move Makar, we're most likely going to be picking him up and side hopping because it's faster to side hop when you're carrying something like all the other times.
Yeah, so item slides went relatively unused in Earth Temple, but they're everywhere in Wind Temple.
Yeah.
So first we're going to call Makar, and if we call him and enter into this door, he'll just like automatically follow us. And that property stays, hopefully. Alright. Yeah, unfortunately, when I did my item slide, I accidentally grabbed onto the top of the door frame. And if you grab onto door frames, or like any legend in general, Makar stops following you.
I've had it where he kept following me, and I have no idea why, but it's been happening a lot. But usually he doesn't follow you through the door.
Yeah, we got him this time, so it's okay.
Just side hopping through this room, and then he's gonna plant 2 trees.
Yeah, this is one of the required uses of the command melody. And then the next one is in the very next room.
And then next room is gonna be the last time we use Makar in the run.
We are gonna see him again, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Makar needs to get captured for this next door to get, like, unbarred.
It's really sad watching Makar get captured.
But we don't need him for anything else, so bye, Makar. In this next room, we can... Yeah, we can shoot the warp pot with a really precise fire arrow, so that we can use it to skip a room later.
So in this room, there's a songstone at the end, and then covering that is the room with the boss key. So Jim's gonna do an item slide onto the ledge on the door frame of this door, and then do a roll clip to bypass the songstone and leaf out of bounds.
Yeah, there's just enough room behind the songstone to open the door.
And light arrows is really helpful in this room.
Yeah, light arrows makes this room easy. Once again, if we line up correctly, we can get a 2-for-1, 1 light arrow. And so because the songstone still exists on the other side of the door, the only way we can get out of here is by save warping. If we tried to open the door, it would actually result in a soft lock.
Yeah. Luckily enough, we're going to take the warp pod as soon as we get back in the dungeon. And we're pretty close to it with the save warp, since it's right at the beginning.
Yeah, the warp pods help speed up, like, most of the dungeons in this game. Tower of the Gods doesn't have them, though, for some reason.
Oh yeah, I never thought about that. Tower of the Gods just wants to be unique.
Yeah, so there's magic in this grass, although it's RNG, so sometimes we don't get magic in some of the grass. And then just like the previous roll clip with the door frame, we can do another roll clip with the door frame leading into the hookshot room.
You can activate it with the iron boots and then take them off and side hop to the right and get all the way down to the platform during the cutscene.
If I can time roll clips, that is. Thankfully, though, these roll clips you can just keep on attempting over and over again until you get it. Because roll clips are a one-frame trick.
more light arrow usage here because it destroys the enemies.
Yeah. Ideally, I could have killed the wizard that was on the floor with the jump slash quick spin, but he was too far away. So the light arrow was faster.
Here's the any percent item that you don't get in any percent.
Yeah. This is the item that could save any percent. Alright, so now we need to go get a small key. It is possible to get this small key with a small leaf trick, but I'm going to be doing a bomb boost because I'm not practiced enough with the leaf trick.
Yeah, the leaf can be kind of annoying. It's important with the small key that he doesn't use it on a different door than the door he wants to use it on, because if he does, then he doesn't have a small key to use.
Yeah, I mean, I know how to get the other one, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but obviously that's really slow. In this room, we can actually, with some precise hook shotting, we can clip down to the bottom and skip the fan. Because these hookshot targets are weird.
Yeah. In this room at the top, he's gonna use the iron boots again, and then side hop off the switch to get down on the ground faster.
Oh, that was scary. This next room is a long hallway, so we'll just item slide across.
Oh, wow. Then on this songstone, you can just item slide against the wall and clip right through.
All right, who's ready to hear Makar play more music?
This is the best part of the run. Don't you guys just love Mulgaro's music?
Yeah, Mulgaro's music is probably a bunch of people's favorite track in this game.
Everyone gets so sad when they watch all dungeons.
Yeah. So Makar's already here. He did boss key skip. Somehow. Makar seems to have a habit of appearing in boss rooms before we do. We should really ask him for speedrunning advice. Both in Forbidden Woods and Wind Temple.
Now he's under the sand. He's alive, though, don't worry, because he can...
Yeah, don't worry, he'll survive. He can hold his breath. But yeah, Makar doesn't like Mulgaro's theme, so Makar's gonna play his own music.
Yep. The reason he's there is because since we have the fully upgraded Master Sword now, with all the skip sequence breaking stuff, the game thinks we should have beat this dungeon already. And it also skipped the cutscene at the end. Because we have the fully charged Master Sword, which you get after beating Wind Temple.
Yeah, the Mulgaro fight itself is pretty simple. Just shoot the tongue every time it becomes vulnerable. There isn't... Oh yeah, wait.
Because they sometimes try to get in front of you when you're trying to hookshot Mulgaro's tongue, and it can be kind of annoying. So now you just gotta wait for Mulgaro to come out of the ground.
Yeah. And while Mulgaro is flying around, we can do some fun stuff on the wall.
Yeah.
While we're like next to the wall right here, Mulgaro actually can't like hit us because Mulgaro can't get that close.
And also putting the camera this way reduces lag.
Yeah, so just like that, Mulgaro is dead. We do get to hear a portion of this victory theme, though.
Yeah.
But Makar doesn't like it either.
Just comes in to interrupt it.
I did get a really nice, like, spawn position, though.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Really close to the warp. But yeah, so because we already have the fully powered up Master Sword, the game assumes we must have watched this cutscene, so we don't have to watch the end of the Wind Temple cutscene.
Saves a good amount of time.
I also was able to get a roll in before this next cutscene, which saves time because Link has to walk to the King of Red Lions in this cutscene, and if you do a roll, you decrease the distance he has to walk. Alright, so we've completed all the dungeons. The next step in logical gameplay is to go and find the Triforce, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah, since we have the portal open in Forsaken Fortress, we can just go back to the portal and go to Ganon's Tower. And use another super swim to get there. Man, that Triforce collecting was very difficult.
Oh yeah, really took it out of me. We do need the King of Red Lions, though, to get back into the Dark Portal. So by using this cutscene that normally plays the second time we come into Forsaken Fortress, we can actually just teleport him here. So, good cutscene.
Just jump in him and go back into the portal.
Yep, so no Triforce quest. Although that does mean no Doritos, so I am sad.
That is true. But now we get to go fight Puppet Ganon, since Jim skipped him earlier.
Yeah, now it's the proper time to go fight Puppet Ganon. So let's go do that. Obviously, we're just going to item slide up the staircase again.
This item slide's also really cool. Nice first snipe. Starts, the tail is moving. And if you get a shot off right away, you can hit it.
Yeah, so it's hard to hit the tail. Thankfully, I got the backup shot.
That was a good first phase.
Yeah, so that's, for Marathon, that's a completely good first phase. I'm happy with that. Ideally, it would just take 3 arrows to be really quick with them. Now we move on to the spider phase, with the deceiving victory theme.
When Spider Phase hits the ground, you can actually get a double shot on the tail when it's spinning around in the air.
Yeah, there's no invincibility between the 2 shots, so right there I was able to hit it twice in a row.
Just one more hit on the Spider Phase, and then we have the Snake Phase.
Oh, dang. Alright. So there are multiple ways you can stun Puppet Ganon in, like, the Moldorm form. One of those ways is quick spinning, so that's what I'm doing to slow him down.
The head, or you can hit it with a bomb. Good Puppet Ganon fight for a marathon.
Yeah, that was a really decent Puppet Ganon fight. Third phase was a little bit iffy, but it's fine. Usually the butt clenched part is the first phase. So I'm really happy with that, with how that turned out. In case anyone's wondering, the world record is 2 hours, 47 minutes, and 5 seconds. I don't know what the timer's at now, because I can't see it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I'm assuming we're probably not on that pace, just based on, like, the mistakes I made.
Now we get to climb the rope with a bunch of A presses, because Link will keep and grabbing it over and over again. You can use it to go up the rope fast.
Yeah, because this rope is so long, you just keep on grabbing. You let go of it.
Timer is. So, timer is at like 2:45, 12 now.
Really good marathon run. Now we're just going up to the Ganondorf fight loading zone.
Oh my god, guys. First try fairy hover. Oh man.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. This is it. This game is dead.
Record. It's over.
It's absolutely over.
Game is just dead. There's no other categories to run. It's just gone. Killed it. In a marathon.
Yeah, first try in a marathon. Wow. The Wind Waker gods have smiled upon us today. RN Jesus has blessed us.
Didn't even need any of the morphs. What a guy.
And through the power of the magic Dorito, we are now able to complete this game.
This is a really nice cutscene for the final battle.
Yeah, Wind Waker, like in all seriousness, Wind Waker is very poetic compared to most Zelda games. At least with like Ganon's dialogue. Which feels oddly appropriate for this last scene.
Yeah. Guess you guys should prepare your hues.
Yeah, prepare your hues. I'm gonna be sad if we don't see enough hue spam.
Me too.
Alright, so even though we never...
Spam.
Yeah, why else would you run this game? So even though we never got the Triforce of Courage, Ganon still summons it somehow. It's almost like Ganon had it inside him all along.
What?
And yes, now that we have the triple Dorito here, we can finally end the game.
That's all we needed. We just needed 3 Doritos.
Yeah, just need 3 Doritos to speedrun this game. It's really easy. Everyone should do it at some point. Another camera trick right here, though, is that the king actually isn't making any contact with the Triforce. He's like 2 feet away from it. Chad, what are you doing?
Whoa, whoa.
The premature hues, wow.
Didn't even start yet. That amount of hues when he actually laughs.
Yeah, you guys better reload quickly, because we're laughing pretty soon.
Doritos are floating. Oh my god, he's laughing.
Alright, now you can spam hue all you want.
That's me.
Tiger's a conservative hewer.
Yeah, I do it a very good amount. So then it's exciting when I actually do it. And chat's going hard.
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah. Alright, that was a decent hue spam. I'll accept that.
Yeah.
I'd say that was good for a marathon.
Zelda just has the Master Sword. She's ready to give it to us.
Yeah. Zelda somehow knows how to shoot light arrows now, though, so that's cool.
Yeah, well, sometimes she knows how to shoot them. Other times
Yeah,
she'll shoot them at
sometimes.
you.
Yeah. Sometimes Zelda's aim is a bit off, and you can actually get damaged by the light arrows in this battle.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, I'm going to be using the Iron Boots to speed up some of these phases.
Hey, using the Iron Boots will make him go to the ground quicker.
oops. Alright. Got a really weird quick attack from Ganondorf right there, and so because he hit Zelda, she shot her light arrow immediately, and he just dodged it.
Now Jim just needs to parry him twice and then do damage, and then Zelda will be back up and ready to shoot the final light arrow. Or once. I'm smart.
Alright. Accidentally had a little conversation with Zelda beforehand, but that's cool. Just to be like, hey babe, watch me strike down Ganon.
Good
But
run.
yeah, so that's time right there. And that is the Wind Waker HD All Dungeons.
GG, Jim.
Enjoy the rest of the marathon, everyone.
Yeah, the final time I got on my timer was
Wow, you timed yourself?
2:50.
Damn.
Not bad.
Our time was still inaccurate then. Dang.
So yeah, that was...
Yeah, that's true.
Alright, well, I mean, it's hard with the restream, like the delay can change. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Big shoutouts to Tiger for commentating with me. He's a Wind Waker HD runner also, so you should go and follow him. He does.
Thanks
all the
for having me.
runs.
This was fun.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah, so I
that's
believe
right.
we have Oracle of
Thank you again,
Seasons,
Jim,
or
for
Ages up
being
next.
willing to swap your run.
Alright, so
That was really nice of you. Thank you.
Enjoy, everyone.
oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, so thank you very much, and we'll see you guys later.